Join the movement. Go all electric with Pure Electric.
So welcome to our home, which is in Hamilton East, a suburb of Newcastle, New South Wales. We live on Awabakal land. They've been the custodians of this land for more than 60,000 years, and I'd just like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. The first phase, I guess, of what we've done with this house is we did a renovation. At the back of the house that we're looking at is actually north facing, and it used to have a low skillion roof, which had no insulation, and it made the house very dark and also got pretty hot in summer. So what we did with the renovation, we didn't make it any larger, but we opened it up inside in terms of rooms, and we continued the tile roof that was used on the rest of the house. Probably most importantly is we made sure we had a wide enough eave at the back that it actually keeps the sun out in summer and lets the sun in through the windows and doors in winter, which is big asset in terms of need for heating and cooling. Our next step was to put on solar. We actually have very limited north-facing roof, and it's divided up by the hip in the roof line. And that initially deterred me from putting solar on until we eventually got around to it and discovered that having on the east and west sides is almost as good as having them on the north side. You can't actually see the solar panels from anywhere on our block, so I'll have to walk across the road to give you a quick view of them. From across the road you can see them. That's the east side that you're looking at there. So we've got 12 panels on the east side, 12 panels on the west side, a total of 8 kilowatts output. Here's the inverter for the solar panels. Because it's on the west wall of the house, we also just added an awning to protect it from the summer western sun. We had a 20-year-old gas storage hot water system, so we've replaced that with a heat pump. So that's a 300 litre stainless steel tank and a separate compressor heat pump, and we went with this Sandon brand for that. Inside the house we haven't made a lot of changes. Probably the most significant is that we stopped using a gas heater for our main space heater and just transitioned over to use a reverse cycle split air conditioner system, which does the job very well. Other things is we put in a flow restrictor in our shower head, and we did a small amount of draft proofing. The main drafts were the front door and the back doors, and I'll show you those. On the back door we put just the weather seal strips across both French doors at the back. And we added some draft sealing strips around the doors where there were significant gaps. Really anything bigger than a 1 millimetre was fairly easy to draft proof. Probably hard to see on the video, but I'll see if I can zoom in and you can see the sort of draft proofing strips that we used. And finally we replaced our internal combustion engine car with an electric vehicle. So this is a Kia EV6, which we've had now for almost 3 years, and it's been great. We charge our EV in the garage using the solar power from the roof. We have a 15 amp plug or outlet in our garage, and that's what we use. We haven't actually installed a wall charger because the power consumption using the 15 amp fits nicely with the excess power production from our solar PV. In the garage, we've also replaced all of our petrol powered things, as in a whippersnipper, a mower and a blower are all electric. The end result of all this is we have a house that is much more pleasant to live in, has much more natural light, It's less drafty, it's much easier to heat and much easier to cool. For the purposes of this sustainable house day, I did the calculation on what our savings have been. I'd never worked it out before, and I was a little staggered how much it was. So I compared our old our expenditure on electricity, gas, and I guess petrol, and then compared it to our expenditure now, and we are saving $5,500 per year, which is quite extraordinary. Our main focus has been more reducing our CO2 emissions rather than retrofitting the house and energy efficiency, but obviously we've done a bit of both. But our initial emissions, when I first started measuring them, which was probably back in about 2006, was for this household, so that's was 12 tonnes of CO2 per year, and that includes electricity, gas, and motor vehicle use. Our emissions now are less than 1 tonne per year, so that's a massive change, and it was surprisingly easy to do. So I hope you've enjoyed this short virtual tour, and thank you very much.